funny at the expense of men is like we get it. We know like
And it is funny. I think it should be hurtful.
yeah. There's a lot of things that we do that are stupid and like hilarious. We live in a weird time of turning it into like a weird social commentary.
No, it's because of probably Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
It can't just be like funny tropes that men do or funny tropes that women do. It's like it's funny jokes that men do plus, you know, a book worth of social justice nonsense.
Tolkien's work was ruined. We love Tolkien work. He was a master. He told a brilliant story. Amazon Prime ruined it. Fair. The exact same thing's going to happen in Narnia, except Narnia was written as an analogy for Christianity and the relationship with Jesus and what Jesus did for people as a savior. That is also going to be obliterated, which is more egregious than just Tolkien's work being obliterated. It's C.S. Lewis's work plus the analogy of Christianity.
Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks podcast, everybody. All you guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs.
Geeks and goofballs indeed. What are you guys enjoying this evening? Any beverage?
A little bit of coffee.
A little bit of
long
coffee.
day at work coming into this podcast,
Coffee.
but I am ready to go.
We all have a form of coffee. You guys have mugged coffee. I got Starbucks triple shot can.
Hey.
Heck yeah.
Why you get the triple shot can?
Because I'm bougie. I like it. And I need energy. It's what it says. It tells me right on the can, this is what it's for, energies. Right?
Yep.
Right. It says it right there. Triple energy.
You know, Joe, now that we're recording, and you're talking in your recording voice, you are a little hot on the mic, just a hair.
That's fine. I can back off.
You are a little hot.
How about that?
That sounds great.
All right. Man, so just to recap, we did touch on this in the pre-show for people that want to go to Patreon and watch that. But I did finish all of the film Digitizing that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
I am waiting for you guys to come up with an interesting name for the film I'm going to edit together of all this footage. And I think it's going to come out to close to 4 hours of footage.
Wow.
3.5 to 4. So yeah, I need help for a name to put this together.
Classified.
What'd you say? I know you gave the last names. I don't know that you want to give them here on the podcast, but I know it was BV.
Yeah.
I was thinking something that has to do with BV. I don't know. BV home movie. BV.
Okay.
The BV, the B/V home movie. I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Movie, or should it be like
home?
Should it be like home film?
Yeah.
Birthdays of Cheryl, Jim, and Mindy.
Right. No, because that sounds like something that families would have. Is, you know, if you're if you are distributing this tape to your family and they're talking to each other, it sounds like something that would occur naturally. Did you get the BV home movie, or did you get the home movie? You know,
right.
The something like that.
Yeah.
You don't think
I was thinking of like a term like filmed at home, you know what I mean? Or filming of home, you know, I don't know. So just almost like there's a tag to it, you know?
Maybe there's already a name for this. And
what is it?
I don't know. But I'm saying, I mean, these were not filmed by us. This was way before we were born. So maybe they've already got names for it.
I doubt it. I just think they picked up their 8mm camera and just started trigger. And just shot a couple things to get the memories.
Got the real times.
Ooh, the real times.
Yeah, the BV real times.
Real ones.
Yeah.
No, that's Sean Bernthal's podcast.
Yeah, real times, because number one, it was a reel that you turned into a thing.
The real times.
And they were real times.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reel.
Real times.
Real times. Real times on the reel. Yeah. I knew
BV,
I knew we would get there. Yeah, the BV
real times. The BV real times. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Kinda
Gotcha.
You
sounds like
put the real times, and then you put the names, the two names
I
underneath
like
it.
it.
sounds like a
I like it.
90s rom-com.
It sounds like a TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
dude.
90s rom-com
The
TV
real
show.
times.
The
Yeah.
real times. I think I'll go with that. I think I'm gonna
I think
call
there
it the
was a
real
show called
times.
Good Times, right?
Right, right.
You're
Yeah,
I
I
gonna
just
like the real
realized
it's
times.
so heavy for your name.
what is
Mhm.
this? What is this slate I've been sticking to? We gotta go to the splash.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, everybody, we're so glad you're here listening to the podcast
Well,
on this Monday morn.
they know it's us.
They do know it's
They
us.
know
I
it's,
just
you know,
won't go to
us.
that nonsense.
Right.
Uh, we have a slate screen just so we keep track of the episode.
For the viewers who don't know about who maybe didn't see the last podcast and don't know about the
Intro?
no, the reels like that you're
Right.
putting on the computer. Briefly, how long, just tell us how long that took in total.
It's taken before like most of last weekend and on and off all week. So
Okay.
I would say if I would have put hours to it, I would say probably like 45 hours of
Wow.
at least like paying attention to.
But
You know what I
it's
mean?
just running in the background.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not always, because sometimes the film will fall off, and
Yeah.
if you're not in the room, it'll
that.
keep processing it, keep digitizing it, and it'll just be like stringing out, and you'll come in and there'll be like 15 feet of film that's just on the floor and all around.
Oh,
So you have to like wind it back up. So you have to keep track of it,
Yeah.
especially with this film. I mean, there's who knows how long, but I'd be willing to bet there's probably at least like 50 to 70 feet of film in here, right?
That's really cool.
a lot.
So it is.
A lot.
It's
It's
paper thin.
not as long as Oppenheimer is, but
But it's
No,
pretty close.
11 miles is what Chris Nolan has said. 11 miles of film.
Wait, how much film do you think would it span if you pulled all that out?
11 miles.
No, not Oppenheimer. I'm talking about
your family's film.
like one of those reels. How long do you think that is? It's gotta be pretty long.
I'm guessing like 70 feet or something.
And if you put them all together, you might get a mile.
Right.
No, that's
I don't
not
know what
even
you're
close.
asking. But yeah, so I got a bunch of 8mm film, old family footage, like home videos. We always grew up with our home videos is on VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's on that. Now that's the whole thing I have to figure out how to digitize next. It's videotapes, which I know how to. I just need to see what the most efficient way of doing it is.
It's probably a lot easier than maybe it's not. Maybe you're doing
No,
what
it's
you're doing.
it's pretty easy. What I'm more concerned about is actually home VCR tapes, videotapes can be damaged easier than 8mm can be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that
tape portion of it can get water damage and it's a lot more delicate, which is crazy because do you remember when we first getting into DVDs? We were switching from VHS to DVDs.
Right.
We preferred the VHS because I think it was the cheap DVD player we had, but it would always pick up scratches on DVDs, and like everything we watched would be scratched and it would skip.
Yep.
And
It's a long time for DVD technology to really get to the point where it was like,
dude,
you don't have to clean your DVDs, or it was like the scratch didn't matter as much.
It did,
dude. When you came across a scratch in a DVD, it's. I don't mean to make light of this. But you instantly become suicidal.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I mean, movie ruined. With VHS, you would just have to fast forward a little bit, and you might miss a scene.
VHS didn't mess up like that.
Yeah, well, we had Tarzan on VHS, and we always had to skip the scene where she's holding Tarzan in the like at night in the tree with Phil Collins singing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it was.
Dude, how do you know the song if you had to skip it?
We always had to skip it, and I loved that part because I loved that song.
So you just sang for him.
So always, once that scene started, we always would hope that it would be like fixed
Just
magically
randomly,
somehow.
magically.
But we always ended up having to skip it
Skip it.
forward to he like jumps out of the tree.
This is on VHS?
No, DVD.
No, that was VHS.
You said VHS, but it would be DVD if it's scratched.
No, yeah, on VHS we had to do this with Tarzan.
For
on
real?
DVD, yeah, but it was only that one scene where it was
That's
messed
what I'm
up.
saying.
Sounds like something's wrong with your tape.
Yeah, there
like
was.
the
That's
film
that's the
was
point
damaged.
I'm making.
Oh.
The tape, that one piece of the tape was messed up. Whereas if you go to a DVD and it's scratched, your whole like half the movie might be messed up. You
Yeah,
might be glitching all throughout.
that's right. Because if you get one scratch on a DVD, if it goes down the disc,
Mhm.
if it's just like one little blip, then you can skip, right?
Yeah.
You can skip 3 minutes of the movie and it'll pass that blip and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if someone took like their nail or scratched like an inch scratch vertically on the disc,
Mhm.
then you've lost half the movie.
I'll tell you something that got under my skin. If you got a new video game
And it was scratched?
and your sibling scratched it or something, oh boy. There's
Somebody's
somebody's
hell to
got to
pay.
pay. Yeah, somebody's got to
Yeah.
pay. That's
Probably
'cause that's
Ethan before he became a
definitely
preacher.
Ethan, 100%.
Back in his days when
Ethan
everybody hated Ethan.
Ethan was messing up like video games and things like that all the time.
Right. Yeah. But that's a pretty good that although it's really annoying in the moment, you know, when you
Mm.
reflect on all of the lost hours of DVD viewing, right?
Mhm.
And VHS, I didn't have a whole lot of mess ups with VHS. It would just become static, but you just play through it, it'd be fine. You look back on it and you got some interesting stories to tell just because that's going to be such, like to Josie, that's going to be such wild technology to
Yeah.
comprehend. You know what I
She's not
mean?
even gonna know.
I don't think it'll be too difficult for her to understand, like for her to make the connections. It's like, oh, we have a disc, we put it in. If there's a scratch, it's gonna not
Yeah.
work. She's gonna associate that with like videos buffering.
Right.
That's the problem we have now is
Yeah,
internet
it's
speeds. It's like
buffering.
things buffer. It's like imagine that, but consistently every time.
All right, well, check this out though, because we know technology that we've alluded to on this podcast that is going to basically make buffering non-existent because the internet's going to be so fast. Someone we know personally working on that has already built that technology. So if that's the case, then she won't even know buffering. You know what I mean?
Not really.
Yeah, until a pigeon flies in front of the laser.
Don't say it. Shh.
I
Don't give away the
clearly
technology.
remember. I remember when I was younger, we had a lot of tapes, like CD, and it was tape before CD. And then I knew what a vinyl was, but I clearly remember the day, like our dad explained what an 8-track tape was, because I thought it was just for the longest time thought it was vinyl, tape, CDs. I didn't realize there was something between that was an 8-track tape. I don't think to today I've seen an 8-track tape in person.
I don't think I've seen one like in real life.
No, I haven't.
I don't think I've just been wandering around and seen an 8-track. And if I did, I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I would know exactly what it was.
I wouldn't
Hold on,
either.
I'm going to pull up a picture.
Let's
see here.
I have seen floppy disk. I have seen a ton of those. We used to have a couple floppy disks when I was.
But I mean,
really
like
young,
the tape itself was like such a huge innovation from the record. Like, and because you could take a tape and you could, throw it into you know what? I've definitely seen an 8-track player.
A player
I don't know if I have.
Yeah.
I might have it like a thrift store, but
in a way, this is just the predecessor to tape. Yeah, because it's basically what it is.
It is, but the tape, man, the tape is such cool technology. Yeah. Just this little.
I didn't understand it.
It's a micro VHS essentially for music that you pop into like a Walkman or your car. I don't know. I love the idea of the tape.
I
Right.
remember
Hold on.
our family just like copywriting a bunch of tapes, just like just borrowing a tape and just like recording onto a new tape, because you could do that with tape.
Yeah, you could just copy over it.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta say this: the technology of the tape and the vinyl
Yeah.
is so much harder for me to wrap my mind around of why it works than digital. Like I
Which
can understand,
it's simple. It's
I can
sound
understand
frequencies.
electrical. It's not simple. We've
No,
talked
no, no,
about
no,
this.
no. It's very simple. It's sound frequencies burned onto something, very much like film.
Yes, but
You
the
know,
thing is, it's
if you
still harder for you to wrap your mind around.
It's a
no, no,
lot
no,
harder, in
no.
my opinion.
It's just frequencies burned onto something. It's like
So
images.
how do you play that back? I don't
Hold
see
on.
how a little needle touching
It's like
that
images burned onto something.
that makes sense because it's literally a visual burn. Like when you
Yeah.
burn something, you can see it. But when you
Yeah.
burn something, you can't hear it. You
Right. So
can't
how do
hear
you
a burn.
like
You know what I mean?
how do you play an image? Right?
It's really simple. You show an image, and you show enough images
You're right.
fast
Well,
enough,
you
right?
have to have something that can display the image.
Image fast,
It's
image
the
fast.
same with a record. You put the needle on, and it um, plays that frequency.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
simple.
I don't
Can we
look.
just cut out this portion of the podcast and be like two white guys explaining technology of
No,
The record technology is super simple. I
it
mean,
is
it's like
not.
base level
I don't
simple.
know. To me, that seems a lot more difficult than I understand what Joseph's saying. Film seems easier to comprehend.
I don't get like
And
it,
understand.
Yeah.
at least okay, maybe not tapes, but records are like the easiest thing to understand.
I maybe could get to the point where I kind of understand records,
You
but
sing into like a tube, and
Mhm.
there's a needle that as the record spins, it scrapes the frequency onto the record. Then when you put the record on and play it, it replays that frequency.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't know how it can scrape in a specific frequency to
Sound
like
waves. It's the
mimic
sound
someone's
waves.
voice. But what kind of equipment makes something that delicate? You know what I mean? I don't
We
know.
got it. We got good at making it's. That's why they're on specific like things. It's the record
Yeah.
itself. I think is really what does it.
Yeah.
It's those are precise. But I mean, you could do it. People have done it on like cardboard and glass. You can do it on. You can scrape frequencies onto glass. It's harder to hear, but you can
That's
definitely.
cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it is
I
pretty.
remember when I got my first vinyl, I'm just watching it go in circles with touching
Mhm.
the needle touching it, and I'm just like, I don't understand how this works. Not at all. I can't even wrap my mind around it. I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
understand electrical pulses that create ones and zeros and then builds on top of that to create
Mhm.
images and movement and computing and code. I can actually wrap my mind around that. I cannot wrap my mind around burning in sound. I can understand burning images. I cannot understand like frequency burning. Like
I think that's
it's just
just
hard for me to
I think
understand.
it's the same thing if you think about it like that. It's like burning an image, it's burning in sound or scraping in sound with a needle.
Scraping and sound, maybe that's easier to understand. But
Well,
then
that's
you
for
get back
the
to tape. How
yeah,
does tape
tape.
play audio?
I don't
Right.
know how tapes work. I
That's what I'm
honestly
saying.
don't.
That technology seems harder than
Mhm.
digital.
Yeah.
Tapes. That's hard
I'm
technology.
sure there's gotta be a, like, episode of, how it's made or something where they
Oh, there
explain
definitely is.
exactly why tapes work. I maybe we should go watch that after this.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I'd appreciate to learn how.
Maybe next week we'll come back with a little bit of knowledge.
I think my week is next week, so I might edumacate all of
You're
us
gonna do an
fellas.
edumacate segment?
Maybe I might do
That
segment edumacate.
is that would be cool. But
Yes.
um, uh, a man once said, a little plastic man once said that everything is awesome, everything is cool. And
He did say that.
He
that
did
was
say,
that.
yeah. And that brings us to our first segment. We are talking about after 3 years of waiting, we are talking about the third Lego movie.
Were we really waiting for it though?
Man,
I mean,
I don't think anybody was waiting.
I really, really enjoyed
the
Lego
first one's
Batman.
fun.
Lego Batman was awesome. I love the jokes. It was hilarious. I
Lego
thought it was
Batman,
fun.
for me, watching it felt like a fever dream.
It was awesome though.
It felt
I
like
loved it.
everything, like for the Lego movie, everything moving kind of hyperactive and fast made sense. I don't
It
just
was
because of how
almost
much there was. For Batman, it was almost like sensory overload of just Batman stuff, them doing all the dialogue just super quick.
but it almost felt like a multiverse thing before multiverse because they had Batman, but it was like multiple versions of Batman mixed together to like do jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it almost felt multiversey, but not.
I'm gonna be honest. When I think of the Lego movie, I was cool, and sure, the Lego Batman. There was so much love for Batman in the original Lego movie. Give him his own film. That's great. But to be honest, like some YouTube channels who do their own stop motion Lego shorts are
Yeah.
just as entertaining.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that's like, why do we need another movie when we got YouTube doing it for us?
And see, the Lego movie, I feel like came off the heels of that trend of people on YouTube making those little Lego little Lego stop motion things that everybody loves so much.
Also, the games, I don't know what was first, if it was Star Wars or they decided to do Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, and they kind of created this
Lego universe
in the game world. Yeah, and then they wanted to bring it into film, and so they decided to make this movie, the Lego Movie. That's what Warner Brothers did, though. So I wanted to talk about this, but I wanted to also kind of get into why it's been 3 years and we've been waiting. So Warner Brothers had the rights to the Lego Movie, the one we're talking about, but as of now, Universal owns it. They bought it from Warner Brothers like 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And which kind of brings to the question a couple of different things, but one of the big things is Universal doesn't own the rights to like Batman. They don't own the rights to all these other characters that they kind of cameoed in the Lego universe. So how are they going to do this? Are they going to kind of do Universal stuff? Are they going to pull some stuff that they have the rights to and make them Lego-fied, I guess? And I think that's what they're going to have to do.
Here's what they could do. So Universal has rights to DreamWorks.
Yeah.
So all the DreamWorks stuff, the A-Team, the Addams Family, Illumination. So that means Mario. That means
wait, but Lego Mario? That's
isn't that weird? Isn't
that would be weird, but that's interesting.
But really kind of meta. And so all the Minions, Jaws, Jurassic Park, King Kong, Land Before Time, American Tail, Back to the Future, The Mummy, dude.
The Mummy,
Lego.
Don't they have Harry Potter?
Pitch Perfect. Yeah, I believe they have. No, that's Warner Brothers.
So let me read this real quick. So this is motivating what Wyatt's saying. In addition to Will Arnett's Lego Batman, the films would often draw upon other characters from the DC universe, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. With the film rights having passed hands, it is likely that Universal will instead seek to replace these kinds of references with their own IP.
Yeah.
So a few that I can see happening in the movie would be E.T. 100%, and then Fast and Furious 100%. Little Dominic Toretto.
It's all about family.
Man,
we can get Oppenheimer. Chris Nolan's Oppenheimer is now
Back to the
Universal.
Future, Beethoven, the Bourne films.
I would love to see a Lego Paul Walker be like, That's not it, cuz.
I said, forget about it, cuz.
Forget about it, cuz.
Joshua's not even saying it right. Say it again, Joshua.
Forget about it,
on me.
cuz.
He keeps the whole thing. The whole thing is that he doesn't say this at the end. Forget about it, cuz.
Ooh, Knight Rider, man. You know
They could do
what?
a lot. They could do a lot.
This is Lego Minions: The Rise of Gru. Is that a video game, or is that a potential movie?
Probably a movie.
Was a Lego theme based on the film of the same name? Oh man,
I'm gonna call that a movie.
See, I think we got a lot that we can work with here. The Nutty
Yes.
Professor, Curious George, Dumb and Dumber, Scorpion King.
There's no end
Trolls.
of references.
Dude, How to Train Your Dragon.
They could do some stuff. Yeah.
I think
no end to this.
I think in addition to if they continue with the same characters as the first movie, I think if we add we're not obviously going to reference, some of our old friends like, Batman and, some of those others, but we have a lot of kind of more generic Lego movie characters. Like there's the pirate and the astronaut and the wizard. And then we're just going to mix in all of these new franchises. I think that's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see it.
I think it's definitely going to be interesting. Like I said, the Lego movies have always done this like almost multiverse thing without it being multiverse, because they can just pull in everything from the Lego universe.
Yeah.
And
it's Legos.
I think that's why people liked it. So the movie it's saying it's going to be a live action animated hybrid like the first movie. It's going to be mostly animated with probably a little bit of live action stuff in it. Just like the first one, coming into the real world, and you kind of see the kid and Will Ferrell playing with the Legos. And which has always kind of been the Lego thing, which is weird, but that's what they've been doing.
Here's something. If, like Illumination DreamWorks Mario is in this, is Chris Pratt. Those are both Chris Pratt characters.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's something they got to think about.
Yeah. If Chris Pratt comes back and reprises his role, then yes. They could do something.
They also could create a completely new kind of Lego movie with new main characters.
They could, yeah.
I don't know. I think they might build a new universe. I think the bigger question is like, should they? Is there still a market for this?
They're going to regardless. I think there is.
It doesn't matter. Look, we know they're going to. That's not the point. The point is,
kids
should
still
they?
enjoy it. Kids would enjoy it.
No. I think for these kinds of movies, I don't know what kind of attention the second Lego movie got, but kids really enjoyed the first Lego movie. To be able to see new characters on screen from, kids like, adults like references, but kids also like references.
Yeah.
If they get it. They like being
be like, oh,
joke.
look, that's E.T., that's Gru, that's a Minion, that's How to Train Your Dragon. Kids like that kind of stuff.
As much as I'm always the advocate guy to say sequels are for hacks and don't do it, I'm going to say now, without seeing anything. Now, I might have to eat my words. I don't know. But this is for kids. I'm okay with them making more Lego stuff because they're enjoyable and they can do stuff. They can do it different. Just make it Lego-fied. And kids will still enjoy it. And I'm okay with that. I think this is for the kids. And I'm okay with there's a lot they could do.
We also have to keep in mind that there is a like canonically like a Lego Spider-Man out there referenced in the Spider-Man movies.
Right.
I would wonder if they would be willing to negotiate like some reference to that maybe even almost kind of in a meta way reference the different kind of film studio worlds. It's like, why isn't Batman here? And they said, well, there's different kind of Lego worlds. Some worlds have Batman. Some worlds have How to Train Your Dragon.
It would even be cool.
Can't have both.
Because Lego has always done this kind of like meta thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they even played on the joke of like Universal buying it from Warner Brothers, and they kind of jokingly threw a jab at the Lego, and they kind of threw that in there somehow, that would be fun. Yeah. That would be funny.
I mean, I could see a lot of really good meta jokes in this, especially because it is Universal. They could definitely make a really good Universal joke. It's like, oh, it's Lego. We're made to build. We're Universal.
Yeah.
I mean, now at least we're Universal.
Right. I would love. I think the one thing that would make me the happiest is if we get, Jack Black back in here and sing like a new remix version of Peaches in some fashion.
Well,
just to build on the love for that.
We got to keep in mind that Jack Black plays, Bowser, but he also plays Poe, so he could be playing multiple Lego characters.
Poe,
just like Chris Pratt.
There is also a Kung Fu Panda movie coming out, so who knows?
Is it really?
Yeah.
What is it, like Kung Fu Panda 11?
Yeah, 4. No.
Kung Fu
Panda Lego Panda?
Lego Panda.
I don't want another Kung Fu Panda movie.
Look, the first one, they climaxed hard.
The first one,
the first one's so good.
Really good. I enjoy a lot of the second one, and the third one feels like a lot of it is just it really is just hyperactive kids stuff, which is fine. The movies are for kids, but
who was the villain in the first one?
Tai Lung.
Tai Lung.
Yeah.
What a villain!
There's
that prison escape. Is the most incredible piece of animation I've seen on film.
I would even give the second one credit for just a cool backstory for Poe, like a very dramatic kind of sad backstory that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And and a good climactic ending. The third one really doesn't do that. It's just all hyperactive kid stuff.
Back to the Lego thing, just to close it off real quick. There's a lot they could do, and it is interesting. They are switching companies, or they switched companies at this point. But we'll just see how Universal does it, and are they better at making Lego movies than Warner Brothers?
I'm excited. I want to see Lego Jaws. I really do. I want to see Lego Jaws. I want to see Lego Back to the Future.
Hold up.
Lego DeLorean.
Oh, yep.
Everything Steven Spielberg. Everything.
I'm so much more happier for this now because I love Steven Spielberg. Is my all-time favorite director.
Warner Brothers does a lot of Spielberg stuff too.
I don't think so. I think Universal has been his creator since
Universal has done a lot. So
I'm pretty sure Universal, like they took a chance on Jaws. He came through, and Universal has backed him his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's the case. That would be fun. That'd be an interesting exploration on the podcast, actually. Steven Spielberg's relationship with studios. If it's only Universal the whole time, it's a little boring. But if there's any kind of cool controversy in the middle, that'd be fun.
It's like Space Jam is Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah,
but it references things like the Iron Giant.
Space
correct?
Jam no, I don't remember Iron Giant in Space Jam.
Space Jam didn't reference Iron Giant.
Didn't they reference Iron Giant?
No, I don't think so.
Or am I thinking Ready Player One?
It definitely Ready Player One.
It might be Ready Player One.
Yes, Iron Giant is in Ready Player One.
Definitely in that one.
It's funny how everyone kind of forgot about Iron Giant, and then shows up in Ready Player One's, and we're like, oh yeah, I remember. That's a really good little cartoon.
I did not forget about Iron Giant.
No, I don't.
It was back in there. It was in the back of everyone's mind.
No. I had actually just watched Iron Giant recently before that movie came out, and I was like, man, this is a solid film.
Yeah, it is pretty solid.
All right, well, we'll see about this Lego Universal Legoverse movie, I guess. And we'll keep everyone posted if it's interesting, if there's controversy, we'll be one of the first to cover it. So stick around and keep watching. And with that said, thank you, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby,
for being a Patreon supporter. Shelby is able to enjoy podcasts a week early and all kinds of other cool stuff over on Patreon.
Yeah, we gotta get a new movie commentary out.
We do.
We got a lot. We got yeah.
Well, the
Joshua
patrons
yells in the mic. Yeah, we gotta. Never mind. Yeah,
the patrons get to experience all kind of interesting news and stuff, videos, commentaries, behind the scenes stuff.
First look for most things.
First look, new pieces of information, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. So if you want to do that, if you want to be a part of that community, of our community, go to the link in the description and choose the tier on Patreon that best fits your content needs. And we'll see you over there. Thank you, Shelby, for supporting us over on this distinguished platform, Patreon.
I would like to say real quick before we continue, just super briefly.
Doesn't have to be super.
Well, the Iron Giant does appear in the 2021 basketball film Space Jam: A New Legacy. He is among the characters in Warner Brothers.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. They be sneaking us.
Yeah, see, that's why I was confused. Wait, okay. He's in Ready Player One, and he's in Ready Player One, I think, is Warner Brothers, isn't it? Because they reference Batman.
No. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, this is interesting. Warner Brothers feature animation does own the Iron Giant.
Yeah, but they also reference Back to the Future, which is Universal.
Exactly.
So I guess it's maybe just Spielberg referencing his different works, but I think he's worked with both studios.
Maybe.
He must have then. I don't know.
Hold on. Steven Spielberg did not direct the Iron Giant.
Yeah, but he worked on it.
Was he a producer? Was he the executive producer? He's produced so much stuff.
Brad Bird was the director. Let me look to see.
Spielberg was heavily involved with the Iron Giant.
I'm pulling it up. Hold on. We got to get to the bottom of this Iron Giant.
Because it's always everybody always talks about it in the same. It's like, oh, Spielberg and the Iron Giant. But nobody ever references Brad Bird.
Right.
And Bird is the word.
Bird?
This is very interesting.
Wait a minute. What?
Hold on.
Bird is not the word.
Bird is the word.
Do you see this? I'm on IMDb.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Produced by Allison, Des, Pete, John. No Steven. Cinematography, editing.
Scroll down.
Steven. Is there an executive producer?
Why did people talk about, Steven Spielberg and the Iron Giant?
I don't know.
There is no affiliation.
I have never heard about that, but
so directed by Brad Bird, written not by Steven Spielberg. He didn't act in it. So this is not a Steven Spielberg movie. First of all, there's our first problem. So we've come full circle.
It's Universal.
No, it's Warner Brothers, but it's not Steven Spielberg. So
I got nothing for you at that point then.
I'm pretty sure Steven Spielberg has been funded by Universal his entire career.
I think so too. Sure I can only think of Universal stuff for Steven. Comment down below if there's a Warner Brothers movie that was Steven Spielberg did and Warner Brothers, because I cannot think of any off the top of my head.
So I guess in some capacity, Steven Spielberg probably just wanted to, with Ready Player One, wanted to reference as many of the nostalgia stories as possible inside of this wacky, ever expanding world, the Oasis.
Yeah.
So I guess he just reached out and was like, hey, could I get rights to show this character in my movie? Right.
Yeah. He's probably got having a lot of connections in Hollywood anyway. So, him being an older Jewish man, as we'd say.
Right. I wanted to bring this up. Did you guys see all how many videos have you guys seen of different actors or directors getting on camera at premieres or parties or whatever, interviews, and saying like, I think it's great that, we have two awesome blockbuster films coming out the same weekend. I think it's I'm planning on going to watch both. I'm going to spend the whole day, the
Yeah.
whole weekend in the theaters. How
Yeah.
many
seen this.
interviews have you heard people say
Both.
we're going to watch both movies? I think
Mhm.
I think it's everyone's upset, but there's like this collective idea that like, well, we can't show our face, so all we have to do is we can't show our butt,
They
so save face
Yeah.
and just be like, "Oh, we're gonna see both. Isn't it great? We can watch 2 movies. We could spend all weekend in the theater." You know what I mean?
And look, that's great for people that,
Nobody's
don't
doing it.
have, like,
They're gaslighting us.
that don't have jobs, normal jobs.
Dude, I'm telling you, normies and celebrities, there's a very small population of people that are watching both movies same weekend.
Mhm.
Very small.
I would like to
Very
see
small.
the statistics or like the group of people that are saying they're watching both or actually said they went and watched both.
Well, we
After this
did
weekend.
talk about this, not too long ago. It was just like Fandango numbers, but there were, like 20,000 pre-orders for both Barbie
Yeah.
and Oppenheimer, which,
That does not mean
it doesn't mean
that they're all the same people.
right. It doesn't mean they're all the same people. No. It was pre-orders for both from the same
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
Like the
What?
same people ordered
Wait,
both
for real?
tickets.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that.
It was just like we mentioned it. It was like there were at least 20,000 people on Fandango that week who had bought both a
Mhm.
Barbie and an Oppenheimer ticket for
Yeah.
themselves.
Well, I'm probably not going to be going to watch Barbie because already with all the movie reviews coming out about it, there's a little bit of controversy.
There's a little bit.
At least a couple of things,
Mhm.
that's coming out about it, and people are
Well,
saying some things.
right. There's some common criticism we're seeing coming out of Hollywood these
Mhm.
days.
Yeah.
However, I did want before we jump into that, can we look at like what's being said on like Rotten Tomatoes, how people are feeling about this?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Let me go ahead and share this screen. Here we go. So for the Barbie, and it's only been out a day as of
For
recording
the
this,
Barbie.
right? I'm correct. Only one day, right?
Mhm.
Comes out
well,
Thursday
Thursday night,
to
yes.
today,
Yes.
really. So scoring. So not a ton of people have seen it yet. Only 5,000 plus have done the
Mhm.
rating.
Mhm.
So
But it's generally liked.
generally liked.
Yeah.
It's down to 78%.
Can we see
Right.
what people are actually saying about it, though?
5,000 plus ratings, 1,000 plus ratings. So it drops from that to that.
Yeah. It's not a huge drop, but it is a drop.
Mhm.
I say let's take a quick before we get into controversy. Can we look at Oppenheimer really quick?
Sure.
Since that's been out for today as well. I'm just curious to see how many ratings they've got and what it's sitting at.
94.
Interesting. Hold on. Yeah, all right. It's already very much liked. However, 2,500 plus ratings. Not
Mhm.
the other Barbie had 5,000.
That could so that could change
It means
That
that
should
it's
change.
all
go on.
fake.
But everything is keeping us in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
As of right now. So it's out for a day. We're still in the 90s. Barbie's in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. Very interesting.
So let's go back to were we not gonna look at what people are saying, or are we just gonna talk about what
I
the
just wanted to look at the percentages.
percentage?
We'll,
Okay.
we'll talk about what people said later.
So people are saying, I mean, I guess we could mention the map thing. There's a weird controversy around. There's a map in it that has like Asia, and people are saying this is like an Asian propaganda film. That's a whole other story from this
Mhm.
controversy. But
That's like a political issue, right? That's like
that's a political thing,
politics.
and I'm not going to quite touch on that. I just wanted to mention it because we did see that too. But the main thing that I guess uh, most people are saying, I guess more of this. I don't want to just say the conservative, but more the conservative, I guess, crowd is saying that this is a male. What was the exact words that they were using for?
So Barbie is a movie about male fragility. Let's dig
So
in.
this is from Time magazine. I've read through the whole article. It's very
Time is very liberal, though.
It
right?
is very liberal.
Yeah.
Liberal. This is 100% in support of the way the movie tells the story. I just wanted to read through. I do think that the writer of this article has some misconceptions about, you know, some of like. I think Hollywood in general has misconceptions about masculinity.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah,
and
no doubt.
this article very much shows that.
Right.
But the interesting thing is that in the movie, little bit of a spoiler warning, Ken kind of becomes what the movie portrays as a villain because he wants to be with
a man.
Barbie. He doesn't understand why she doesn't, like respect him or want to be with him,
Right.
even though it's just kind of like she's Barbie. She's living in her own world. And he's kind of made to be part of her world. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when he goes out into the world, he realizes, because he's a man, that he can get a lot of respect, and the movie displays that as a negative thing, that men get respect from other men, and that the only way that men get respect is by being rude or mean or hateful or creating a structure, right?
Yeah.
It's not because that because of love, or because of like actually being friends and respecting each other, or like good qualities. It's all negative qualities.
It's like, oh, hello.
So
are you a man?
This article even goes as far
Respect.
as to put this movie into like, they talk about it in the same breath as Don't Worry Darling. Is that what that movie was called?
Yes. And I didn't know anything about that, and I watched it and I hated it. That is
the movie
worst.
is kind of it's a terrible movie.
I'm saying this as a man, but as a straight white male, but people might still take this and be like, oh, well, you don't count because you're, but that was, after watching that, I have never felt so, I guess, insulted for not doing anything and for just being a certain person. And I'm not saying, I know how people are going to take this. They're going to be like, oh, a white male is finally seeing hardship or finding not everything not being great after years of stuff being great for them. It was the worst movie ever. Go back to what you were saying. Why? I don't.
Well, so the article says that Ryan Gosling's portrayal of Ken in Barbie is is lighter and funnier than some of the more serious takes on the resentful man who works to repress the women around him. Heyman is right that we empathize with Ken. He's ignored by Barbie, and we root for him to find his meaning. The issue is, I don't think a lot of people are gonna get behind that, because a lot of guys understand and feel what it actually is like to be a man, and the certain societal things that are heaped on top of you. And when you go into a movie and see that it's just see that on at the most base level of kind of what you're feeling, nobody respects or cares about that. And in fact, even in the probably even in the funny ways that it's like we make this a joke, I don't think a lot of people are going to see that as a joke in the same way that I'm sure a lot of women don't see, maybe some of the, maybe some of the stereotypes about women that are a joke as a joke, right? About, the behavior and things. It's complicated, and
Yeah.
it's strange that this is such a big part of the movie, that you would show for Ken. And even in this article, it goes as far as to say that Ken is um he's like a background character to Barbie, but I think everybody kind of knows who Ken is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Especially even after Toy Story, everybody knows who Ken is. Ken in Toy Story is an awesome character. He's like he's kind of like a man, but also a man who really likes fashion. He's very much like a man who becomes brave, and he becomes the things that a man should be in the like.
Bro, you're injecting way too much purpose into this Ken character.
Wrong.
I think you look up to Ken way too
Ken
much.
is the best character in Toy Story 3. He is.
No.
He
No,
absolutely is.
No,
He
you're injecting way
recognizes
too much.
No. He recognizes when he's wrong, and that he shouldn't be doing these things, and that he wants to help the person that he loves, and he stands up to somebody who is a bully. That's awesome. That's an awesome lesson to teach.
Okay, look, I gotta go back to what you were saying earlier.
Mhm.
This being referred to as, men aren't going to resonate with it or not really see it as a joke in the same way that women haven't seen other things as a joke. I got to push back on that, because I'm actually in favor of hurtful humor. I think if it's for the jokes, make it hurtful. And I don't care if it's at the expense of men. I'm only like, what I think with this, I don't think there is meant to be funny here, but I don't think the annoying part is the funny at the expense of men. I think the annoying part is that, like, there's a woke agenda behind it.
Well, it's
There's
not
a woke agenda
funny.
that's, like,
Funny at
meant
the
to
expense
be,
of men is like we get it. We know, like,
and it is
that
funny. I
things
think
that
it
we
should be
do.
hurtful.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we do that are stupid and
Yeah.
like hilarious.
And
But
and
I think making
likewise.
like, I don't know. We live in a weird time of turning it into like a weird social commentary.
No,
Yeah.
it's because of probably Greta Gerwig.
Like,
And it's these woke
it can't just be
directors.
like funny tropes that men do or funny tropes that women do. It's like
That's what the rom-coms were, and
that's
that's why
what
they
it
were so
should be.
great, right?
But it's funny jokes that men do, plus, a book worth of uh uh social justice nonsense.
No,
Yeah.
it's like
For
we
either
have
side.
to, yeah, it's like we're gonna make fun of men. Great. I want people to laugh at men. 2, we also need to educate men to learn how to be better.
Yeah,
That
that's
is a
such
problem.
weird.
That's
That's
weird
weird.
as crap, because
It's like, I
that's
want to
not
go
what
I
men
want
are
to
gonna
go into a
resonate with.
movie and laugh at a guy being an idiot. We've done that, thousands of
It's
times.
our favorite thing to
But
do.
I don't think anybody wants to go into a movie and laugh at a guy being an idiot and then get
A woman
preached
teaching
to
him attention, a
about
woman teaching him, how to do
about
right.
how to not be an idiot,
Right, and she comes out as some kinda
or how
Jesus
you will
character.
continue to be an idiot, but we'll help you, I guess.
Right,
It
right.
it kind of makes me very nervous, and I know we look at things like this and we're like, "Oh, but this person's gonna be directing something else." It makes me nervous that they're gonna be directing that.
Narnia?
Yes,
Yeah,
admit
so
I
Greta Gerwig is slated to
if
ruin Narnia.
she
Yeah,
makes
that's
any
the right
kind of
terminology.
if she makes any kind of
She will.
agenda in these movies,
Especially when
then
everyone is just gonna blow her horn and her praises for this
Mm.
movie. So she's gonna come into Narnia with a hot head thinking she's incredible and destroy C.S. Lewis, who not only was an incredible storyteller, not only was an imaginative
it's gonna
mind, but
be
was a man of God, and
Mhm.
she's going to obliterate his work of mastery.
it's going to be like Amazon Prime's, Rings of
Rings of
Power
Power.
I
and
Hold
ruining.
on. I think it'll be worse
We'll
Ooh.
see, we'll see. I don't wanna
because
I don't wanna put
think
the
about this.
cart
Think about
my
this.
horse before the buggy.
No, I'm prepared. So look, Tolkien's work was ruined. We love Tolkien work. He was a
Mm.
master. He told a brilliant story. Amazon Prime ruined it. Fair. The exact same thing's going to happen to Narnia, except Narnia was written as an analogy for
Yeah.
for Christianity and the relationship with Jesus and what Jesus
Mm.
did for people as a savior. That is also going to be obliterated, which is more egregious than just Tolkien's work being obliterated. It's C.S.
Yeah.
Lewis's work
Yeah.
plus the analogy of
Somebody
Christianity.
who doesn't understand, um, you know, men in general, how do we expect this director to understand the decisions that these characters make as uh, children, as young men, as young women in these situations in in a high fantasy kind of
I
setting?
I already
They're not
can
going to understand that.
I can
She's not going to be
already
able to do
probably
that.
understand, and I understand why they would lean into this, but I
Mm.
already can see them leaning probably towards like Lucy's story. And Lucy was, especially in like The Lion, the Witch, and the
Yeah,
Wardrobe,
she's a
if that's
prominent
where they
character.
start out,
She's a
she's a very
main.
prominent character. She's very she is the one who goes into
Yeah.
Narnia first, and
I
there is
think it's
that.
like I think it's
But
like Lucy and Edmund, like they're
Hmm.
contrasting each other.
yeah, but if they twist it and almost just put more emphasis on her character, they're going to ruin the whole story when she is a very pivotal part, but don't I already could see them doing something like
Well,
that.
the one I see that would be really bad is The Horse and His Boy,
Yeah.
Mhm.
because that's a very masculine name for a movie. Um, but it also has a very heavy emphasis on Aravis. Her character is running away from a arranged marriage with an evil man, and she
Mm,
saves Shasta, and Shasta saves her, and there's a lot of like friendship and love between these two characters.
Mhm.
yeah.
But it would become a Little Mermaid thing where it's just about her doing her thing, and also she saves Shasta along the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I think with, like, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the obvious thing to do there is to be like, "We're gonna be edgy, so let's
Mm,
blur the lines between relatability with the witch and demonizing Aslan." You know what I mean? Let's try
right.
to get them to meet in the middle so we can see, we know how the story ends, we have to end it this way, but we can see, the good inside the witch, and we can also see the evil inside of
Inside of
Aslan.
Aslan. Yeah.
That's the direction they would take, which
Yeah.
is totally anti what the
It's
story is
like
supposed to be
it's like
about.
going back with what a lot of these movies do. It's like with Maleficent or Cruella. It's like going back and making a villain sympathetic
Yes.
when these movies should be more like Nightcrawler.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see those kinds of villain movies where the villain is the villain,
Just a bad
and
person, and
you
they end
know
being a bad person.
maybe they do start off as a good person and terrible things happen to them, but I want to see it end with them being a heinously bad person that does things you can't come back from.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in the end, like, Darth Vader couldn't come back from all the things that he did,
Mm-mm.
No.
He
but
died with them.
yeah, he did. He died as he
He
died
died
as
as Vader.
Hater.
Darth Vader. Um, I mean, he saved Luke as
Yeah.
Anakin, but he's buried as Darth Vader essentially.
I
Mhm.
mean, famously, he said it himself. He had to live with slaughtering them. I slaughtered them all,
Yeah,
the women
yeah,
and the
all of them.
children.
So yeah, back to Barbie. No, I am
This is gonna
probably gonna watch this movie.
not in the theaters,
I'll.
bro.
I don't know that I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
enjoy it too
I don't
much.
know. I don't
I don't
know. We'll
think,
see.
look, I think the humor's probably good. I think, and although maybe it was Greta Gerwig who wanted, Amy Poehler to be, initially
You mean
the
Amy
Barbie.
Schumer?
Amy Schumer, not
Schumer.
Amy Poehler. Amy
Yikes!
Schumer.
I'd prefer Amy Poehler.
Yeah, truly. But if I'm glad they didn't go with her. But if if Amy Schumer and Greta Gerwig are, friends, and it was Greta's idea to possibly
Mm.
take Amy as this role,
Mhm.
that speaks volumes as far as like who she is
Who
as
she
a
hangs out
person,
with.
as a creator. Yeah, who does she run with? And I don't want anyone associated with
No,
Amy Schumer to
she's probably
come
not
Amy
within
running.
Schumer Amy Schumer
100
said it
miles of
wasn't
Narnia.
Amy Schumer said it wasn't feminist enough.
That's crazy.
And it seems like it's pretty feminist.
Yeah, I think the whole thing, it's supposed, like, that's the point of it, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine.
And
I'm not anti-women at all. I'm
no,
just very anti this culture of anti-men,
yeah, the thing about it is like, these social messages that are, in these kinds of movies, I don't think appeal to kids. I don't think
No,
it talks
you're right.
it talks down to half of, the people that might watch the movie, boys that
Yes.
might watch the movie. But if you're trying to make a movie for girls, clearly this isn't a movie made for girls. It's a movie made for women,
Yeah, dude, you
Yeah.
you were right. And
like wine moms.
that's what you said on the reaction to the trailer. You said it early. This is made for wine moms who gave up on their dreams,
Mm,
you know.
the gassed up mids,
Gassed up
if
mids,
you
that's
will.
right.
Yeah.
And you're totally right, dude, and a lot of people still are hating on you for that comment
Yeah.
in the
Look,
comments for that video, but it doesn't, you're
I
right.
I I
That's
haven't
who this
looked at
video is
that
for.
comment, that
That's
the comments on that video, but I bet they're wild.
But dude, that's who this movie's for, because it's definitely not for kids, not only with the
Mm.
messages and the jokes, but also probably with the sexual innuendos. It's probably pretty
Yeah.
I don't
sexual.
know that there's I don't from what I've read, I don't know that there's a ton of sexual innuendo because technically they're toys, right? I don't know that they
You don't
have.
think there's gonna be
It
at
is
least
PG-13, so
15 of them,
there's
15
something to
minutes
make it
about
PG-13
Yeah,
over
well,
PG.
from what I've read, I don't think they're portrayed as kind of like the way that they are as toys, where they don't really have genitalia. I don't know that they don't have genitalia in the movie, or if they're more like almost like Adam and Eve, where they don't think about that kind of stuff.
But you don't think
They
they're
just
leaning into that a lot and just, like,
No, I don't think
acknowledging.
so. I mean, they're definitely probably going to acknowledge that's like there's clearly something between these two characters, but because they're toys and the way that these toys are designed, they don't do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know?
Well,
We'll see. We'll have to see about this Barbie movie. There's a lot of red flags, and we're not just hating on it because it's a woman. It's a starring a woman. I
Mm.
think it's really about the creators and less about the actors and the lead of the film. It's really
yeah.
about who the creators and what the agenda behind the movie is.
You
Yeah.
know, I heard on uh Bad Friends, Bobby Lee went in and read for a secretary
Mhm.
position, and that would have been hilarious to see Bobby Lee in
Honestly,
this film.
look, I don't. Bobby Lee is funny, but I can't respect him too much because he's on
Yeah,
that. He's on
he's
the
definitely on
new.
the say
Wait,
that again?
he's on the woke train as far as
He
woke
definitely
gets.
is, yeah.
Now, like, he personally probably doesn't subscribe to, like, don't tell certain jokes because he is first and foremost a comedian, but he also really cares about what people in Hollywood think about him. And he's also on that, that, what is it, the latest Sex in the City? It's a different title, but
Mhm.
that is as woke of a show as it gets.
Mhm.
Because Kenzie watched one episode and she can stomach a lot of woke culture, right? She can stomach so much of it because of the
'Cause she's
nature of
a
who she is.
woman.
She's a woman. She's in a certain field of work that's really, accepting of it. But
Right.
there, she
Mhm.
watched one episode and she's like, "This is way too much."
What was the
Yeah.
show?
It's
Sex
I
in the
can't
City.
remember. It's like the new Sex in the City show.
Yeah.
It's on, I think, HBO.
Was it The Idol?
No, it's the first. So it's like you had Sex in the City, and
Uh-huh.
then that finished. That was a finished
Oh, it's
show
like a
years ago.
spinoff.
It's not a
It's
spinoff.
a spinoff.
It's like 15 years later. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's like the same
okay.
characters coming back, but like
Sex in
where
the
they are now.
Retirement Home.
kind of, sort of. But it's like, but now they're in today's world. They're in today's culture, and she like does a podcast, and you know her co-host is a they/them black lesbian kind of person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they talk about their pronouns and how they identify at the top of every podcast. It's crazy. So it's those kind of things, right? And Bobby Lee plays a big role in that show. So Bobby Lee is rolling with the wokest, you know?
Yeah. So I guess it brings us to kind of our last thing that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to be kind of breaking this down and playing a game with it a little bit.
Okay.
I guess you'd call this a game as much as ranking. So Oppenheimer is coming out this weekend. A lot of people might have already seen it by the time this comes out, but Oppenheimer's director, Christopher Nolan, has made quite a few really good films.
12, in fact. 12 total films.
Well, we've seen all but one.
I've seen all but two.
I've seen all but one of his films.
I think I've seen all but, I guess, two. You mentioned one I'd never heard of.
Yeah. I think I've only not seen one. But there was an article that I kind of stumbled across that because of Oppenheimer, every Christopher Nolan movie ranked from like worst to best, which they all should be at like at least number 3 because they're all really good movies. But
first things first, who made this list? Like, how was this compiled?
I don't know. I have no clue who was.
So it's by the AV Club.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that's Audio Video Club.
I just kind of stumbled across it and thought we should do our own list because I like their list, but it didn't quite put everything in the right order in my opinion.
Let's go through the list and see. Just shout out if we agree or disagree. Right?
Super quick.
Yeah. Coming at the last, the following.
So
I haven't seen
one.
This
I have not seen
the following.
Yeah, this is the
that
one.
was the one I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
This is Chris Nolan's first like official feature, and it was shot on 16mm black and white. Okay. So this is a while ago. This is like
I'm gonna probably just say that's probably right because it's at the last one.
Yeah.
Well, they make some decisions. They make some decisions later on. That
okay.
I don't know.
So
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah.
I would say it was a good film, but it wasn't his best.
It's also a superhero movie, so we got to keep that in line.
Tenet
in mind.
I disagree with this being at 10.
It's funny that he puts 10 at Tenet at 10.
That's actually really funny.
That's pretty hilarious.
I would agree because I didn't like Tenet, but
I
would agree.
Don't keep rehashing your reasons.
I would disagree because I liked Tenet.
Yeah, Tenet's a good
okay,
freaking
what's
movie.
Next? Just keep going.
I would disagree because I didn't like it. I would agree because I
disagree because I liked
Insomnia 9. I would say this is probably in the right spot
this is probably pretty well
ranked. It was a good movie, but
right.
it didn't feel like it was a fantastic movie.
I would put Tenet above this one.
Right. Okay. Memento at 8.
I don't know. Memento, I really liked it.
I would put Memento at 8 because 8 is an infinity.
I put Tenet way above Memento, to be honest.
And that's kind of Memento's thing, right? Is the infinity thing?
Yeah.
I would say it might be in the right spot. It was good, but
it's not infinity
films that Christopher Nolan.
It's not infinity.
Yes, it is.
It's like a sideways U. It's like a sideways U.
It's always coming back to the same spot. It always comes back to the same spot.
All right.
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins is number 7.
I would put Memento before this. Or better than this. It's a good
I would rather watch Batman Begins than Memento. I like Memento. I really do.
Hard one to watch, but
Batman is such a, I think just a fun movie to watch. I love watching Batman.
It's one of the better superhero movies.
It really is solid.
All right, 6.
This
Interstellar.
is where I hugely disagree.
Yeah, this should be way lower.
I think we all disagree with this one.
I think Interstellar, if it's not, number 2, it's in the top 3, right? I mean, just
Interstellar is top 3.
And music. If you don't like the story, I understand. Fine. But for sheer visual and musical spectacle, this one at least number 3, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Prestige.
Prestige is
I
good.
can't be mad at this.
Yeah, that's
Prestige is really
5
good.
Prestige is
It
pretty
really
good.
Prestige, yeah, I think it falls pretty. It's better than I think a lot of them. But I think some of the newer ones
Are a
we've
little
talked.
better.
We've talked a little bit about Nolan. Kind of, his movies rely heavily on like a concept, and this one feels like his concept work is there, but it's not quite as.
It's a little confusing.
Well, it's not necessarily
Okay.
confusing. It's just not as like fleshed out as a like concept as some of the other
Look,
ones.
that's sort of like halfway a better argument than just saying it's confusing. Because so many people that just don't want to do the mental work shut down a Christopher Nolan film by calling it confusing.
Okay,
Yeah, like
no.
minute.
I think
You got to
Joshua,
think
yes.
about it.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish.
It's lazy, and I don't respect
The
it.
reason why this is harder and it's a little bit more confusing is because it's really following like two things. It's following the one magician's trick, the disappearing and reappearing. To not spoil it, Christian Bale's magic trick. It's following that, and then it's also following Hugh Jackman's story. So there's kind of two timelines we're following here. That's why it's confusing. It's not one solid thing.
No, he lays out the film perfectly, and you can understand it.
Oh yeah, you can.
You can understand this movie.
I had trouble necessarily following the timeline.
No.
All right, let's keep going.
Next? Yeah, what's next?
Dunkirk at 4. Dunkirk's visually incredible.
They definitely should swap at least this and Memento
Interstellar.
or Interstellar.
Yeah.
Swap this and Interstellar.
Let's get through the rest of these really quick so we can rank ours.
The Dark Knight with
I would put The Dark Knight in the top 3 of my Nolan movies.
I would put it at 4. Bump it up.
Yeah.
All right.
What would you put? Hold on. What would you put in front of Dark Knight for the top 3?
So I would put like Memento, Dark Knight.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then
no, we don't list them.
Well,
we're literally about to list them.
In my top 3, I'm not gonna like rank them. It's in my top 3: The Dark Knight, Interstellar, and the other one,
Inception.
And Inception are in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we got Inception coming in at number 2.
Solid. It's pretty solid.
And then Oppenheimer coming in at number 1. So,
yeah, really great list, Guy, for everybody who hasn't seen Oppenheimer.
Right.
Now, whole list is to just promote Oppenheimer.
Our lists might change once Oppenheimer comes out.
True.
I know.
True.
Okay, so
it's out. Once we see it.
Right. Crap. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my Photoshop if I can figure this out. Screen share window. Let's do it. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
So we have a Photoshop of all 12 movies. So we're going to list them. Our own 12.
We haven't seen Following. I would say we should just put it at number 12 because we haven't seen it.
Yeah. According to that same logic, we have to put Oppenheimer at like number 11.
True. True.
Right?
True.
That's true. We don't know about Oppenheimer. We just don't.
Can we just not rank Oppenheimer? Just leave it off this list for now? Can we agree to that because we haven't seen it?
All right, how about this? Yeah, let's take Oppenheimer and put it little baby Oppenheimer maybe.
Yeah.
Let's put a little baby Oppenheimer down here in the corner.
Yeah, I like that.
Right. And so we'll just start it at number 11. How about that?
Ooh, actually, start it at number 11. But after we finish the ranking, let's put Oppenheimer on the movie that we think it's going to be.
It's going to trump?
Yeah, that it's going to be better than.
Okay.
So, yeah. So the following, number 11.
Let's put the following. And then
I think Dunkirk next.
You think Dunkirk?
I'm gonna be honest.
But it was just a war movie. I don't think there was anything spectacular about it.
I from what I've seen of Dunkirk, it's like Joe said, it's visually a spectacle,
Yeah,
and I
but
think that's more than you can say for Insomnia.
Okay, Dunkirk also
yeah,
really lacked
yeah.
on character development.
Right, and that's fine. And
Well, what do you prefer? Like,
Insomnia is very character heavy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So we have heavy on one or heavy on the other.
I think when you're watching Chris Nolan, you're gonna enjoy the spectacle, the visual spectacle, more than the character in
If you're
Insomnia.
in
I
theaters,
like
it's not as
Insomnia
interesting if
better
you're at
than
home.
Dunkirk. I like
Yeah.
Insomnia better than Dunkirk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have an opinion, but I do put both of these, I guess, at the bottom.
Let's rank number 10 for Dunkirk then.
All right, let's put
And
Dunkirk.
I
I
guess
was
number
not impressed
9
with Dunkirk
number
personally.
you want to put number 9 for Insomnia?
Yeah, that's
Joe?
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
That seems pretty good to me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the real meat and potatoes.
I would say the next is Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Dark Knight
This
Rises.
is kind of pretty close to where it was on the other list.
Yeah.
Well, no, Dark Knight Rises was at 11 on the other
Oh,
list.
really?
Yeah, it was the following and then the Dark Knight Rises.
Ah.
So, sort of. See, a lot of people hate on the Dark Knight Rises.
I don't hate on it. I just think it's not one of his best
over
movies.
over
you're right.
Dunkirk
You're right.
and Insomnia.
I'm looking at this whole list and I can't
Yeah,
say.
can you honestly put The Dark Knight Rises over the other 2 Batman movies and
I
the
can't.
rest of these movies?
Yeah.
I can't. Now, I will say this, however. I will say that the next Batman, like Batman Begins, I would put at 7.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would too.
Yeah.
So no pushback so far.
No.
I think Tenet should be next.
I
think Tenet should be next.
The next one for me is The Prestige.
No,
Now we're getting
Prestige is
into
better
some
than
pushback.
Tenet.
Look,
Prestige is better than Tenet.
I think for like a movie, The Prestige is probably definitely like a more enjoyable film to watch. I think
I think Memento
as
should
an
be
experience.
Next. I think 6 should be Memento.
No.
I don't think it should be Prestige, and I don't think it should be Tenet.
I think it should be Tenet, Memento, then The Prestige.
No, freaking flip all that and probably put Prestige higher.
I think the Prestige is probably higher than Tenet, but I don't know that Memento for me is higher than Tenet.
Look, this is kind of crazy to say.
Okay, then put Memento next. That's fine. What Wyatt just said. So Memento
is at number 6.
Memento, Tenet, Prestige.
And Prestige. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, Tenet's
I think
number
Prestige
5
is better than the Tenet. So yeah, Tenet next.
It's right in the middle. That way it can go backwards and forwards.
So the Prestige is at 4.
It's a no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll go with this as a group. I'll go with this as a group.
I would put
personally. Go ahead.
I would put. So I agree with 6 and 5. I think The Dark Knight is not of a good. I think The Prestige is better than The Dark Knight.
I personally think.
I don't think so.
I think The Prestige might be better than Inception.
Do you really?
Kind of. I think we get, maybe it's just the timepiece nature of The Prestige, but we still get really high concept that really explains itself in a simple way at the end, but doesn't really lose you at all, in my opinion. And we get so much deeper into the emotional turmoil of the characters in Prestige. You feel it in a deeper way than you do Inception.
I think there's a lot of deep emotional work in Inception.
Yeah, there is definitely. I think you're with Inception. It's a balancing act, and I think they balanced it well, right? Between emotional weight with Leonardo DiCaprio's character and side characters, but really with his, and high concept. Whereas Prestige doesn't go too high of concept. It gets up there, but not as high.
Yeah.
So it allows you to live in the characters more. You know,
you're not trying to put Inception at 3, are you?
No, I'm not.
He's saying he maybe likes The Prestige more than Inception. Here's my argument for these three: Inception, Dark Knight, and Interstellar.
I think Dark Knight should go either 4 or 3.
Here's my argument for these ones.
Mm-hmm.
Over the Prestige. I like the high concept stuff in Inception.
Mm-hmm.
I like the kind of trippy music stuff for Interstellar, both kind of over the Prestige. And I like The Dark Knight as a watchable film, as well as a visual masterpiece. The Prestige doesn't quite reach the storytelling of Inception for me. It doesn't reach the watchability as the Dark Knight. And it doesn't reach just the sheer kind of scope as Interstellar. Just because the Prestige tells a lot of its story like after the fact.
Right.
As we get to the end, we kind of do a lot of, this is what was happening during this time because this is something that we didn't know. Now, granted, you could have figured a lot of this stuff out if you were paying attention, which is a point in its favor. But I think a lot when you do a lot of that backwards, if you were paying attention storytelling at the end, and then also the kind of reveal with Hugh Jackman where you're like, wait, it's a great reveal and I like it and it stands out in your mind, but it's also kind of like, wait, this is actually what was happening.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know, there's something even in that big moment in Interstellar where he's in the Tesseract and he's manipulating time.
Yeah.
I would have
even that has like some really genuinely heartfelt moments.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I would agree. Actually.
Hold on. I got to say this though. This is kind of where I land. All right. If we're putting Prestige at 4, I don't think you can make it, but as a group, we'll put it at 4. I'm glad it got all the way up to 4 and not at 6, like Joshua was initially saying. I will say.
No, I never said 6.
Well, somebody was saying put it at 6, and I think it deserves 4.
No, I said The Dark Knight should be going up a little bit.
This is freaking that aside.
Okay.
Can I lay out what I think? What was your list for top 3? I know you're going to put Interstellar at 1.
So you guys know Interstellar is my number 1. And then it's kind of Dark Knight, Inception.
I would agree.
Only because
Inception's better than Dark Knight.
No. Dark Knight's better than Inception.
I said it's Interstellar and then Dark Knight and then Inception.
No. Swap.
Hold on, listen, because I have reasonings.
I think Dark
Heath
Knight's
Ledger's
the best.
character.
I think Dark Knight
is not that great of a movie at all.
It actually is. Heath Ledger's character isn't the penultimate part of The Dark Knight.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good part.
The concepts that Christopher Nolan is tackling
it's
with The
Dark Knight. It's a superhero movie. You're going to put number 2.
It's a good part.
A superhero movie?
Have you not ever watched a video on YouTube, the thousands, that says The Dark Knight is not just a superhero movie?
I would agree.
Your Christopher Nolan arguments are lazy.
2.
And
no.
The movies. Hold on.
This is why we don't do ranking anymore.
Hold on.
This is why we don't do ranking
If you shut
anymore.
up and listen to me, it's arbitrary. The 2 or the 3. I only rank Batman number 2 because I really just enjoy watching the movie. I enjoy watching Inception almost as much. It's just for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, the pacing for me of Inception feels different than the pacing of Dark Knight. Dark Knight pacing feels kind of just attention grabbing all the way through.
Yes.
And Inception feels more like sit down and experience the thrill. So it really comes down to just which one am I gonna just kind of enjoy watching the most, because both of them, as far as like a lot of the stuff in them, I love.
Yes, and I think we all here appreciate these two movies.
But that's why I say it's arbitrary, because I think it could easily
swing either way.
In the future, it may swing over to Inception as being my number 2.
Look, I don't mean
but
to
I'm
throw
not saying
a big
that's
monkey wrench in it.
Yeah, that has to be you guys.
I don't mean to throw a big monkey wrench. No,
hold on.
hold on.
Agree.
Freaking! I don't mean to throw a monkey wrench in this, but I don't think Interstellar takes 1.
You guys don't have to put Interstellar as 1. That's just my number 1.
I'm putting Interstellar at 1.
No,
it's better than Inception and Dark Knight.
I think.
What are you going to put Dark Knight at number 1? If you put Dark Knight at number 1, I will walk off.
I think Inception and Dark
Knight takes number 1.
I think Inception
insane.
and Dark Knight are both great for general audiences. They're really good general audience movies. Christopher Nolan general audience movies, which is kind of hard to achieve, of a movie with this scope that appeals to basically everybody. I think Interstellar is on another level to that. I think Tenet's on another level to that, of like these movies that aren't general. I think Dunkirk and probably Oppenheimer will be that way as well.
Okay, this is the biggest problem I have with Interstellar. If I know everyone's like, oh, it's so freaking long, and it's so what is this? I want another 40 minutes to flesh out Interstellar.
No.
Interstellar feels 40 minutes too short to me.
Okay. I can see that.
It's really long.
I watch Inception and Dark Knight and I feel complete. Right? I do not watch Interstellar feeling complete. I feel like it is an incomplete film, even though it is long. So I feel like the story requires more time.
So the story is so intense, it leaves you wishing that you had more.
That doesn't mean
maybe that puts it on a different level. Maybe that means it puts it on a different level, that you want more from this incredibly long, intense, incredible movie.
What it means is Chris Nolan caught lightning in a bottle, but never.
I would pick,
never finished,
but couldn't put the lid on it.
I think Interstellar is number 1. Me and Wyatt are both saying Interstellar is number 1, so I guess we have to go with that.
2 against 1.
It's 2 against 1 at this point, my guy.
Yeah, and then you know, I guess I feel like for you guys, Inception is next, but for me, it's The Dark Knight.
I think I vote Dark Knight. No, I vote Dark Knight. I vote Dark Knight.
Okay,
I think Josh
picked Interstellar, but I think 3 and 2 are swapped.
Yeah, I think we could probably go towards.
But I found
2 is Inception.
No, I thought Dark Knight's the best.
Why
I think
Dark
Knight deserves 1
better?
We both say Dark Knight can be 2. Me and Wyatt do.
That's
you
why
both
I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's arbitrary. This category, 2 or 3 for Dark Knight or Inception, is arbitrary to me.
Okay, whatever. We'll leave it the way it is. Let's leave it just like this. All right, you guys put Interstellar at 1. I get to pick what's number 2. All right.
And anybody in the comments or anybody watching the video who says Inception is the greatest Christopher Nolan film, you got caught in the your general audience. Sorry. I salute you, general audience.
You got caught.
Yeah, you got caught.
I personally think the most under what do you call it?
Rated?
Appreciated?
Underappreciated, underrated is Prestige, personally.
I would agree.
Prestige is I think Prestige is a
I don't think enough people talk about Prestige. Yeah.
No one talks about Prestige, and it is literally one of the definitely top 10 best movies I've ever seen.
Maybe they will, and maybe that really is the Prestige.
It comes back around.
It comes back around. It always comes back around.
Yeah. If it doesn't reappear, it doesn't reappear at the end.
So little Oppenheimer.
Yeah, needs to become big Oppenheimer to see who he's going to overthrow.
Leave it kind of little, because we'll put it in the corner.
We'll see how it ranks here.
I think it's going to take number 2. I don't think it's going to dethrone Interstellar as my favorite Nolan movie.
You think it's going to take The Dark Knight?
But I think it's going to take, and not necessarily The Dark Knight, but the number 2 spot. Whether that be Inception or The Dark Knight for you, I think Oppenheimer's going to take that number 2, and I think for a lot of people, it's probably going to take number 1 because some people are more into history than future sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, I think this movie's going to be. It's not going to have a high concept. It's going to have just like the telling of the story. It's not going to have this high concept of like what you don't really know the story until it's done type thing, like Prestige or like Inception
or
it like Christopher Nolan does this high concept. I think it's just going to be the story, but it's going to be good. Like The Dark Knight is like that. It's just the story and it's good.
I can
but it's not
I can get behind this. I think
I would say maybe 2 or 3.
I think a combination with like freaking Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Christopher Nolan, a biopic, real history, such a big scale, such an important story in world history. I think, I want to say it might take over Interstellar for me personally.
I think for a lot of people, it's going to dethrone their number 1. No matter what your number 1 is, I think for a lot of people it might. And I know for sure that for most people, it's probably going to take over that number 2 spot.
Yeah. It's
I think number 2 is safe.
You might continue to have any of these other numbers as your number 1, which is 100% awesome. But
everything is awesome.
I think your number 2 is going to be dethroned.
I think so too. I think it's also going to be number 2. It's kind of crazy to think about that. We're talking about one of at least top 3, if not top 2. Best Christopher Nolan film is Oppenheimer coming out this weekend, and people are like, "Oh, but Barbie and Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling," and I'm like, who cares?
I feel like
there's a historic, like not a movie about history, but a movie that's going to go down in history coming out this weekend.
Yeah,
and everyone is getting their jollies off on this Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig Barbie movie.
Yeah,
I think Barbie's gonna probably be a good time for people.
It's a blip on the radar.
I think it's a blip on the radar compared to, we're talking about movies, Christopher Nolan movies that are
from the 80s.
Yeah, so old.
From the 80s
and
90s. I think 90s.
I don't think Barbie's going to have that kind of staying power.
Barbie's not going to have 365 days of staying power.
What'd you say is going to be a blip? Blip. It's over.
Yeah. Drop in the pond.
Flip.
Right.
Well, I say we should sign off because I'm going to go watch The Following. It's the only Christopher Nolan movie I haven't seen. We got to go watch The Following.
What? I still have to watch Insomnia. I still have to watch The Following.
Just those 2.
Have you seen Memento?
I'm going to see. Yeah, I saw Memento.
Yeah,
I saw Memento before you fools.
Just those 2.
Freaking, how dare you come at me saying, have you seen Memento? I'm the one who said, have you seen Memento? And you both said, no. No, I haven't.
Thank you for watching the podcast, everybody. We'll see you next week.